Something you opened up about in, I think it was a Q&A, you mentioned reading both of your sisters' books, Ginger's book and Jill's book, and you mentioned something that really made me curious. You said that, talking to them, reading their books, all that had rocked your world. And I wanted to know what you meant by that.
Okay, well, I'll probably get emotional because I always get emotional about this kind of stuff. So let's just rewind. So with Gunnar, I had a super hard postpartum, and it was like the darkest time of my life. Anyway, but it was really good, but it was super hard. And so I feel like I just went through this with the hormone change. You know how it is.
Totally.
The hormones were super, super hard. And so you're going through postpartum, and then I felt like my family was just falling apart. And then a lot
not
you and us, but just my siblings and my parents and all this stuff was super hard at that time. And so I came to a point where I was just like, what is even real? What do I believe? Like all this stuff. Sorry. Anyway.
Take a break.
Yeah, we can take as much time as you want.
Do you have a tissue? Sorry.
Totally.
Right.
Thank you.
Of course. You can just take the whole box.
Okay, yeah, I probably need it. Anyway, so I came to this point in my life where I was just like, okay, and I think Austin had gone through this earlier when he like kind of went through rebellion and was like, okay, what am I going to believe for myself? What am I going to, and he figured that out a lot earlier than I did. But I feel like it was good, and I can see now looking back, how much God grew me in that season. But I do feel like Ginger's book specifically was talking about just your faith in God and taking it from more of like, what can I do? But really, we grew up with so many standards, and I was great at keeping all of these standards. And my parents never preached one time that it was, you do all these things and then God will accept you. But that's how I took it personally. And so my whole life, I was like doing all these things. And my whole Christianity was always a checklist. I got to read my Bible, check. I got to pray, check. Like all these things. And so I feel like it all came just crumbling down when postpartum, my family had a lot of struggles at that time. And then these books come out. And I had to work through these things that I'd always felt like I'm never going to question God. Like I'm never going to do that. It was almost prideful of me to say like, oh, I'm never going to get to this point in my life where I will. And then I got to that point, and God's like, yeah, you're not perfect and you don't have it all together and your world's falling apart. And so what are you going to do about it? And so it was probably, that was a super hard time for us just because I was out of it, and like mentally I just couldn't handle a lot. It was probably a good 6, 7, 8, 9 months of I just had a hard time getting out of bed and had a hard time just doing what I needed to do. And then spiritually on top of that, it was super hard. And so I feel like Ginger's book, I listened to it, and I've talked to her a lot, and I had a lot of really good counselors in my life, and I went and actually saw a counselor for these issues, and that was really good. And just working through, and he really encouraged me. He kept saying, don't just ask all these questions and not search for answers. He was like, if you have these big questions of, is God real? Or does God care about me? Or bigger doctrinal questions. He's like, you need to be proactive and search those out, because he's like, I want you to know for yourself. I'm not going to. And I really appreciate that about Austin, because I know not everybody has such a supportive husband, but he never made me feel like, I can't believe you're going through this, and I can't believe you're questioning God. It was just, he was constantly there supporting me, wanting me to grow, become a better person, and encouraging me to search stuff out for myself. And so, anyway, the long answer to that question is I think it really helped me spiritually, taking my faith from a lot of fear-based, that's similar to Ginger's, of a lot of fear-based, to searching things out for myself and knowing that God loves me no matter what I do or what I don't do. And I feel like it's a journey, and I'm still searching things out. But I searched in the Word, I asked God, I was praying, and I feel like God gave me so many areas of just peace and answering questions in that dark season.
What is it like to go through conflict in your family when everything is just on blast? Like, it seems like every media outlet wants to make a story about it. They want to monetize, get the clicks. Like, how does that affect you personally? How does that affect your family? Because I don't think many people understand what it's like to have your personal life on display for literally everyone to see.
We've kind of created this own little bubble. And so we try really hard not to read a lot of comments and to search news. We know it's out there, but we can't control that, but we can control what we let in to our minds, our family, and then how it affects us. So we really try to keep a lid on just not letting so much bad into our minds and consuming our thoughts. And there's a balance, right? Because you don't want to be naive to everything that's going on. But like, for instance, I cannot look at comments on Instagram or on any social media. I can't handle it. It makes me so mad.
Yeah.
And I want to get on there and start being a keyboard Karen. And
Keyboard Karen.
That's like Abby's mom.
So I
Don't
can't
even bring it up.
Hey, that's my mom. She'll call me. She'll be like,
yeah.
"Can you believe what they're saying about you?" I'm like, "Mom, I don't even want to know, and don't you get on there and say nothing."
Didn't she at one point like create an account under another name?
My dad did. I think it was my dad.
They're like, we're gonna have this good comeback to so they could come back at certain comments. I'm like, how do you even know how to do that?
It's literally a waste. It's a waste trying to rebuttal people that literally have nothing better to do than to sit there and criticize and whatever. It's a complete waste of your time. I think there may be somebody that you could respond to, and maybe they would be like, "Oh, well, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't have said that." But that's not been our experience. I think one time we had a lady do that, where we commented back, and then she direct messaged us and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that."
Oh, wow.